Leah here for another video. Today I will be making custom fabric dolls of my 4 favorite ball jointed dolls, all of which I have developed into my own personal original characters. While I love the big ball jointed doll versions, I have had the idea of making the characters into smaller chibi style dolls for some time. The designs are a bit complicated, as you can see from my own art, so I knew this was going to be a big project. To make things a bit easier, I ended up using some of the Na 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 teen dolls as a starting base, these 3 specifically. Appearance-wise, they were the closest to my big dolls. Amazon had the boys on clearance, so I bought multiple dolls for only $15 each, which was actually cheaper than even buying them secondhand, which I would have liked to have done. Okay, let's start with my first character. He's a fire dragon themed doll with lots of red accents, so Parker's Scorch was a close fit. These boxes became the bane of my existence. Why does there have to be so much plastic packaging? I also don't like cutting tags off things, but I had no choice this time. But this would be the least of the changes. One big reason I picked these dolls was the realization that their heads were the same size as my ball jointed dolls, and that they could actually wear the same wigs. So I didn't even have to remove their existing hair, I could just cover it up. But before we get to that, a few other things come first, such as making their outfits. This first one had the easiest outfit. He dresses mostly in black and red, so I could use most of his existing outfit. However, the green had to go. And so I bought these fabric paints. They were just a cheap set on Amazon, but they worked perfectly for my little project. Let's start by painting the dragons red. It's mostly on camera. That's a bit better. It turned out better than I had planned. He looks pretty good now. I also made him a quick black cloak, one that's supposed to be worn and frayed on the ends. Finally, to finish things off, I bought some cheap human-sized bracelets to go with the little sword I had found. The character has 2 swords on his back, but for now this is enough. I also painted his eyes red to match. I wasn't sure if the fabric paint was going to bleed, but I managed to dab it on lightly enough that it only just changed his eye color. It was also a good test for what is coming up next with some of the other dolls. The belt also allowed me to attach the sword to his back without much effort. Now at last we can finally put his new hair on. It's always a challenge to get wigs on, but it worked after a bit of off-camera struggling. I just love how different he looks. Such a cute little dragon boy. Here they are both together. I have also included some of my own art in this video, just to make things a bit more interesting. Next doll, this time it's my android character, so think steampunk with lots of earthy tones and metals. This is the second Parker Scorch Na 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 doll, but this time I'm going to be painting his entire body. Wish me luck! I painted a test on the back of his leg to see how the paint would react to dry. I wasn't happy with the shade the first time, so I did a bit of mixing to try and match it better with my ball-jointed doll skin tone. It's still not exact, but I was happy with the result anyway. Onto the face. This part scared me. I was so worried that I'd wreck and destroy that adorable little face, but I took the chance and I was thrilled with the result. I also seem to have a bad habit of painting nearly off the screen, but hopefully I'll get better at this filming thing soon. Slowly getting there. This used up a lot of paint as well. I did do a second coat off camera as he was a bit patchy in places, but once it dried, the second coat fixed everything. For the shoes, I simply painted a plastic primer over their existing shoes. This is the pair of shoes that came with the girl doll, Rebel Dare, but the style looked perfect on him, so she's getting another set of doll shoes. After, I simply painted them with regular acrylic paint, adding more intricate details off camera and sealing them with some glossy varnish. Next, let's make some clothes. This shirt came with the other boy, Quinn Nash, but he didn't end up using it, so this doll gets it. I simply turned it inside out, re-sewed the hems, and painted some added details. I also made some quick pants to match. Nothing too fancy, yet. This was the hard part, his coat. I made most of it off camera as it was so frustrating to try and film. It's far from perfect, but for now it will have to do. I hand sewed some gears on it, trying to hide some of my sewing blunders. This belt is once again a human-sized bracelet. It's not so great in the back, but we'll hide that soon. But first I have to do something about that hair. Ball-jointed doll wig to the rescue. Just a simple black wig this time. But once again, it changes the doll so much. How cute is he? And I love how his skin tone turned out. Now let's make some accessories. My character has a mechanical eye, but instead of painting one on, I'm going to incorporate it into an eye patch he always wears. I simply found a round metal bead, and using my trusty glue gun, I attached one of the gears to the back of the bead. But first I had to attach the cord that holds it all in place. I did lots of measuring first to make sure it fit before gluing. A few burnt fingers later, I managed to succeed. Now let's decorate his coat and shirt. I kept the glue gun out and attempted to glue some of these metal beads and decorations. It worked, but my burnt fingers weren't so happy. Plus, how awful are these glue gun strings? I finally settled on using pliers to glue stuff in place. Let's put the belt back on. It's starting to look better. Finally, I'm going to glue some really tiny gems and stones on, just to give it a final touch. This was frustrating work as I kept dropping them all the time, but I was pleased with the end result. Letting everything dry, let's finally take a look at him. I'm rather pleased with his final look. This one was a lot of work, and despite some difficulties, I'm happy to add him to my collection. The hat I didn't make and is one of my ball-jointed doll hats. All I did was add a few gears so that it would match his coat a bit more. Here they both are, not quite the same, but still similar enough. Now let's move on to my favorite character, my undead gray vampire. I bought the Na Quinn Nash for this character as I needed a doll with a really pale complexion. So let's get started. Painting this one gray unnerved me. I was so scared of ruining this doll, and when I started I didn't even know if this paint would work as I had envisioned. The character has no color at all, and I wasn't sure if the gray fabric paint would completely cover the warmer skin tone, but I gave it a try. I didn't have enough paint to cover his whole body, so I just did what I could. His legs would be covered by his pants anyways, so that didn't matter as much. But I wasn't able to cover up his sharp tooth necklace, no matter how many layers of paint I added. I also had to paint his lips and eyes with acrylic paint after, as the fabric paint wasn't able to cover those areas either. For his shoes, after applying the white primer, I simply painted them black with some blue accents. Looking back, I wish I had left out the blue and just added some silver instead, but oh well, maybe I'll repaint them at a later time. And here he is, and it all worked. I was so thrilled and relieved. I managed to paint out the blue eyes and made some clothes. The addition of the bracelets as belts was a wonderful finishing touch. The pants were from the second Parker Scorch doll. I just removed one of the side pockets to make them a little bit different. The necklace is still there, but I simply covered it with a little scarf around his neck. Finally, let's add his long white hair. This character only has mid-back length hair, but I just couldn't bring myself to cut this wig. It was just so pretty. Again, getting it on is always a struggle. But isn't he adorable? Here's a quick before and after with a second Quinn Nash. Look at the difference. And here are my pretty vampires. I could just play with their long hair all day, but not in a creepy way, I promise. And finally, we have a girl doll. This is the Na 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 Rebel Dare. She already has the perfect hair color, and all I had to do was make her a new outfit and paint her eyes and lips. The shoes were from the Na 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 Amelia Outback and fit perfectly over the pants I quickly made. The color too was perfect, so finally no painting. Here's the shirt. It's an oversized look with poofy sleeves and a corset around her middle. So let's work on that. Unfortunately, I didn't have the right color of fabric, so it's back to the fabric paints. This was fun, if not slightly messy. I should have put some newspapers down first. Next, I added some cords and beads for decorations. Ah, beads, the struggle is real sometimes. Then I got out some stones and gems I put on the previous doll to add some decorations. These are actually nail art decorations, but work perfectly for small dolls, if you have the patience. And here she is. I made her a red cloak and glued some gems to her ears as earrings. I also added a cute little butterfly bracelet around her waist, since the character's theme is butterflies. And the boots finish it all off rather nicely. All I did with her hair is add some braids and metal decorations. They look so cute together and match so perfectly. They are a bit different, yes, but that only makes them more unique. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me customize these dolls into my own characters. This took nearly 3 months to make, yet I look back with fond memories. I haven't sewed anything with my sewing machine for over 10 years, and it felt absolutely wonderful to get creative and make some things once more. I was so thrilled with the outcome, and perhaps if you guys enjoyed this video, I may be tempted to try and make some more. I still have some extra Na 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 dolls laying around, and more original characters I could turn them into. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know, and I may make another again in the future. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned. I have some big news and a big video project in the works in the coming future. Bye!